The TV screen had paused my game, my characters in still motions as little bug-ink creatures sunk or creeped around the darkened, neon light-clad realm. However, instead of the brown-haired hero Sora as my playable self in this fantasy place, there was a boy with blonde, spiky hair standing in a lazy karate stance, his shoulders slouching, his profile gaze youthful, but bored. I thought he was my favorite character from the series, Roxas. My heart thudding in my chest from elation since I hadn't seen him in game ages. Yet, on closer inspection, as I moved out of my forced hiding spot a smidgen of a hair more, I noticed he was taller, wearing a faded gray hoodie and black pants, his posture sloppy. The Keyblade, the sacred weapon of light to the worlds, was lying on the ground, being treated like a common stick. What a disgrace! My hand bumped the side of the controller, still attached to the system, its orange light informing me it was ready for me to be its mistress once more. By instinct, I hit the start button. I regretted this choice immediately. My brain prepared for the figures in front of me to animatedly come to life. Instead, I was presented with a TV filled of static, the sight and sounds one gets when they lose their channel or signal. Baffled and on edge at the thought of losing any data, I exposed myself to my waist to grip my controller fully, but I was halted back. Without warning, from the fuzziness in front of me and the popping of electricity, sprung forth a head. A young man's head. It was smiling too largely, his blonde spikes and eyes lighting up like he swallowed a glow stick factory. The background behind him making this image something out of The Exorcist, the Cheshire Cat licking his lips after eating Tweedledum and Tweedledummer. My heart leapt in my throat, déjà vu to when I first met Umbra in a very familiar manner, rolling in my panicking brain. I gasped out a breath, my eyes expanding to the point they felt stretched out, only getting a few moments of grace before a full figure emerged out of the TV. Sparks of energy, the glow of ectoplasm, clung to him like a thin coat over his hoodie. He extended his arms to show his wingspan, a pose and look on him like he just finished an Olympic gymnastics routine, landing a perfect 10-point gold medal jump. There was no doubt in my mind that this was the boy that randomly occurred in my game after that bizarre gust of wind. Oh, snickerdoodles! That wind was paranormal! Mac and cheese and meatballs, I should have figured that out. Once I realized this, I pinpointed the feel of his aura. Murky, slick, and the oddest, most mystifying thing of all, it was short-circuiting. Electricity sizzling, cracking all around him, his spikes zapping tiny bolts like a connector rod. That must have explained why he was so washed out in light. However, I knew he wasn't a burn or electric victim. There was no charring. It just came out of his watery blue aura naturally. I studied it closer to see that around his feet, the aura looked like it was snipped with scissors, intact, but wanting to unravel. I knew ghosts had frayed auras around their feet, dragging them to the ground, showing they chose to stay. Yet this guy was floating, like he had received star power from Super Mario Galaxy, buzzing around like a Luma in his spot. How could he possess the aura of a ghost and a spirit? Was he... Howdy hey, yo bro! You better get up or you're gonna get nasty carpet burn! An overly zealous, cracking voice entered my ears. I looked up to see the spiritual boy giving me a grin that looked glued on by a dental commercial, the model waving his hand in my face. When it got close to me, I arched my head back, whacking it on the bed frame. In all my pondering, I forgot I was still under the bed. Rubbing the soreness away, I focused on the zapping sensation that poked my cheek when his hand was near me. It felt like someone placed a dissolvable Listerine square on my cheek, as thin as a single sheet of tissue paper, moist to the touch, but a spark hit my cells on contact for a second. It made me blink automatically. I knew this sensation from somewhere. I glared at him through my side vision before I stood to dust food crumbs off my pants and straighten my shirt. 1, I'm not a bro, thanks for noticing, and 2, if you really wanted to meet me, I would have preferred you phase through the door, not my brother's TV screen. You crashed my game. I dragged out the words in a mumble at the end, trying not to sound bitter, but it was challenging. I was mentally having a breakdown, imagining the horrors if I had to restart the game. Sorry about that. I was just so pumped that I found a way to get in touch with the spirit warrior. His beam paled him out like someone putting a light bulb in a child's face by a campfire. His expression was full of energy and hope. I wanted to ask how he knew I was the spirit warrior, but I stopped myself, clamping my mouth shut like a clam guarding a pearl. Ever since I helped another spirit, Rico, move on a few months ago, I had spirits flock to me like I was the next teen pop sensation, thanks to my enhanced knowledge and light power trainings that I gained with the official manual for my title, the Spirit Warrior Book. Original, I know. Since I wasn't at school now, I hadn't had any encounters until now. I sighed while I lifted my arms up, then letting them fall like weights were tied to them. Time for the introduction, and here my mind was reeling with the severe concern for Sora being lost in a file that my memory card couldn't save. Well, you've got the right person. My name's Starry Moon, current spirit warrior. How can I help? I didn't get to finish my sentence, because a bolt of energy knocked the breath out of my lungs, sending me on a hard landing, my bottom taking the hit. It took me a few seconds to adjust, get a feeling for what had just happened. There I saw a slim figure jittering around, engulfed in so much muted electricity that it was hard to make out what it was. The only indicator that let me know it was the spirit boy was that his voice was ringing, rippling. Static was popping through his voice and aura, floating, short-circuiting around us, sounding like a radio talk show speaking at the bottom of a kiddie pool. I knew it! I knew I'd find you. Man, what a jolt this is! And boy, when he said jolt, he wasn't kidding. He rocketed, his feet and the wisps of his aura fraying, igniting in a thin stream of white fire, making the whole room pop around me, my ears cringing in protest. He was randomly spawning in different spots in the small room, like he was traveling through a wire that I couldn't see at light speed. He continued to talk, his words jittery, zealous, but my eyes were too busy trying to keep up with him. I was too busy dodging the sparks that would propel themselves at me, or items in the room.